Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Callum, nice to meet you. You're probably wondering, why have you got a microphone, Callum? Today's video is going to be a little bit different to anything I've done before, as we are about to start my brand new series here on YouTube, Paint and Spill. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to kind of explain to you guys a little bit about what the series is going to consist of, what we'll be doing, all things like that, to get you a little bit familiar before we get into it. Paint and Spill is going to be my brand new series, as I mentioned, here on YouTube, where I am going to be glamming all of your favourite creators whilst getting to know them, speak through their career, how they got to where they are today, the best moments and the worst moments, the good, the bad and the ugly, all whilst I do the makeup. So it's going to be a little bit of a makeup tutorial and a podcast all wrapped into one. The easiest way for me to describe it would be if a podcast and a makeup tutorial had a baby, it would be Paint and Spill. So with that being said, let's get into it. I feel like it was such a given that the first episode of Paint and Spill had to be with my bestie. I know, so...
I'm serving face card, by the way.
Yeah, we are. This is the glam we created. Anna brought her freckles back because she says she doesn't feel like her without her freckles.
I had to draw my freckle back on. It's just me.
Anna, of course, had to be the first guest of season 1, hopefully, of Paint and Spill. We chatted all things career, locked in, the book, even meeting the Kardashians. It was a bit of a wild ride.
It was a wild episode.
And the glam is giving, but I hope you all enjoy the video and I can't wait to start this fun series with you all.
Jump scare, I'm very pale.
Let's get into it. Hi Anastasia.
Hi everyone. Jump scare, I'm really pale.
I think it's quite apparent that me and Anna are really good friends anyway, so I feel like for this I'm going to kind of let Anna do most of the talking and just prompt what we want to speak about because...
You know everything I'm going to say anyway.
I do, babes. I could answer the questions for you, but it's better coming from...
Me?
Do you say the horse's mouth?
The horse's mouth, yeah.
Is that the saying?
Yeah.
It's just better coming from the person themselves. But when I start these interviews, I kind of want everyone to just introduce yourself. Act as if I have no idea who you are. Like, if you was describing to someone who you are, what you do, everything, from bottom to top, who is Anastasia Kingsnorth?
I'm Anastasia. I was going to say 23. Oh my God, I'm 24 now.
She's so old.
I'm growing up. Can't believe I'm 24. I'm 24, living in Manchester. I live downstairs. So got here so easily today. Literally just walked up the stairs.
You did walk up the stairs.
I literally just walked up the stairs. Oh, I got in the lift. Got in the lift.
Can I give you the sword?
Yeah. And I make YouTube videos. I have for, 12 years now.
She's got 1.3 million.
Oh my God, we were talking last night about, I'm sure we're going to talk about Locked In, but we were talking about the secret challenge that I had to do on my season of Locked In when I had to pretend, not even pretend actually, not even lie. What is it, like, say to everyone that I had 1.3 million subscribers. They made me do a secret challenge where I basically had to tell everybody in the house, but individually, that I had 1.3 million subscribers, and I was the first person to get a secret challenge as well, or maybe the second, but I'm pretty sure I was the first. So literally it just looked like I was the biggest snob, and they said to me it didn't count if I told 2 people at once, because I told 2 people at once and they were like, no, you have to go and do it individually again.
So you had to tell them again.
I had to tell, I can't remember who it was now, but I had to tell them again. So I was just trying to drop it in really, like, I'm asking about their careers, I'm asking about how they think they can grow on like social media. Then I was like, oh yeah, so I've currently got like 1.3, but like I want to try and grow more. That was the only way I thought I could do it, because I didn't want to come across a bitch and be like, so I've got 1.3. And the funny thing is I've still got 1.3 3 years later because YouTube just doesn't grow.
Love it.
Love it.
But you're slaying. I feel like you have been doing this for so long, Anna, and like you're such an OG, and I actually love it. Like whenever we go out, like the amount of people that will come up to Anna and be like, I've been watching you since I was like a kid, and it's actually crazy.
It's so lovely to see though, because I love the fact that people have grown up with me and they're the same age as me now. Like if they started watching me at like 13 and they're like, I'm 24 now, I've been watching you since I was a kid. Like it's so nice that they know everything about me, and it is strange sometimes when people know everything about me and I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
But like it is literally the best feeling in the world. Like I was saying to Cal, like YouTube is literally my like number 1 social media. Like
I always say to Anna, like, what age are we retiring? And like, what are we like? What is the thought process there? Like, how long do you think you'll be doing this? And you will forever say forever. Like,
yeah, I think it will always just be like a forever thing. Like, even if people don't watch it, I'm still gonna vlog and upload my life because it just feels like part of me.
It feels like homely
to do that now.
And you do it so well. And another thing that I really like, and I think you're so many people's comfort person, and like when people come up to you in public, like you are the nicest person back to them. Like
thank you,
could
baby.
meet them for the first time, and they probably will always receive that same energy that they get from you online in person.
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, 100%. Like I love it when people come over to me and we just have a conversation. Like if we're on a night out and people come over, we just get a shot together, we have a drink. Like I don't know, it's like with my videos, even though over the last like however many years I've managed to do some like crazy things, I always just try and bring my videos back to doing the very normal thing of we're just sat in the kitchen, we're eating food.
Yeah.
Or like we're just having a night in, we're cooking. Like we're doing nothing.
So true. Like Anna saying, like she'll have a shot with people. The amount of times we have been on nights out and people have ended up on the night out with us. I'm not talking like quick interaction. I'm talking like, oh, well,
they've
we're going
stayed
here
with
next.
us.
Are you coming with like?
Yeah. But I also think that's Manchester though. Like people are just so friendly up here, and everyone's like, let's go this place, let's go that place. Like everyone, ever since moving here, I've literally met the loveliest people. So if you ever have come over to me on a night out, love ya.
When you started YouTube, what was the intention? Like, did you ever think this could be your job? Like, what was you actually doing on YouTube at the time? Like, I obviously know this.
From the very beginning.
Like, what was the, like, I'm going to do this?
So like, from the very beginning, YouTube wasn't actually, like, a job when I started. So I started doing Moshi Monsters, which is, like, an online toy game. Oh, my God. That was my... Like, I still actually love Moshi Monsters. It's just one of those things that you grow up and you just have, like, a real attachment to.
Anna does still have the figurines in her storage unit.
I've still got... Yeah, because I will never part with them. Like, I want to show my kids when I'm older and be like, this is what Mummy did when she was younger. Like, I just can't part with them. But I used to open toys for... I think I did it for maybe, like, 3 years on YouTube, and I just fell in love with doing it. And then whilst I was doing that, I would watch like Zoe and Alfie and like the Brick Crew, and they were my childhood, watching all those videos and watching them grow up and everything like that. And then I basically just wanted to be Zoella. Like I was like, I want to be her when I'm older. I remember when her first video came, well, not her first video, but the first time she did like a makeup tutorial, the internet literally like broke down. Like it was a wild day to be like, oh my God, on the internet, it was just amazing. And then when she did like her 4 heatless hairstyles, oh my God, I would copy everything she did. And I just remember everything so well. So I then started another channel and did a couple of videos on that. And then I made Floral Princess, which is my channel now.
What? Do people know the origin of the name of Floral Princess?
I don't know if I might have said it somewhere, but because
I only
can't remember.
Like, not that long ago found out about this. And
yeah, because you were speaking about it.
Do you want to speak about it? Because I feel like that is such
so
a cute. And Floral Princess, no matter what, that is a part of you.
Oh yeah, I sometimes forget that my channel was called Floral Princess, because I think it's been just Anastasia now for maybe like 4 or 5 years, maybe a bit longer. But
that was such a scary change as well.
I was terrified because everyone knew me that, because like back in the day when I started doing YouTube videos, the whole like pastel floral theme was really big. So that's all everybody did. And I made my thumbnails like literally white, so you could barely see any of what the actual eyes. Video was. It was just eyes. It was wild. But I called it Floral Princess because in my old house, my nan used to come around a lot, and we went to Primark one night, and my mum would give me like £10 to go and spend or something, and I bought a duvet that had loads of flowers on it, and then I had this little pink sign that said Princess, and my nan was helping me make my bed, and she called me her little Floral Princess, and I remember thinking, I was like, oh my God, that's such a cute name. Like, I'm going to call my YouTube channel Floral Princess. And then that night I sat and made a new channel called that. And that's now my channel. Obviously, I got rid of the name just because as I got older, I felt like I just needed to be known for my name. And it just
obviously outgrew.
Yeah, I'd like, if someone come up to me now and was like, oh, hi, you're Floral Princess, it would seem a bit weird at 24. But like,
yeah, like,
do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's me. But that's how I got the name, and I love it. And it actually says Floral Princess on my first YouTube plaque, which is nice. Yeah, I'm so glad that I've got that one with Floral Princess on, and then my million one says my name. But it's just, it's the cutest thing in the world.
Obviously then started to move away from Moshi Monster and then go into different content. Where did that change come from? Do you just feel like you was outgrowing the Moshi Monster vids, or...
I mean, it was probably, it was in secondary school. So obviously I was getting older. Everybody kind of found out that I was doing Moshi Monsters, which wasn't the best moment, because it kind of, even though I loved it, it was kind of embarrassing. But I'm so glad that I didn't like give in and just give up when everybody found out, because I would not be doing it now, obviously, if I had. But I remember saying to myself, like, oh, I just love makeup and I love beauty and I love fashion. Kind of want to start doing this as well. So I think I actually did both alongside each other for a bit.
Yeah, before
and then
going into like strictly one or the other.
Yeah, and then I stopped doing the Moshi Monster one and just kind of like stuck with the Floral Princess, because it didn't even pop off quick, actually. It took me years. I can't actually remember how long it took me, but it was a very long time to get even like 2,000-3,000 subscribers.
That's what I mean. You've obviously had like a very successful career, and I think a lot of people only ever see like, oh, she's wrote a book and she lives in this really nice house and da-da-da-da, but like you have stood the test of time. That you have been doing
I remember when I got my first payment from YouTube, and I don't know if this is the still law with like AdSense nowadays, but you had to earn £60 before they'd release your money. So I was earning maybe like £4 or £5 a month, and it all built up to be the £60. And I didn't have a bank account at the time, so I had to get it sent to my mum's bank account, and she withdrew me the £60. And I was spending it so sparingly. Like, I remember going on eBay and I really wanted a Bath and Body Works Pocket Back hand sanitizer.
This actually melts my heart.
And I still have it downstairs, because even though it's obviously gone off now, it's years old, I just can't get rid of it.
No.
And it's the s'mores one, because Bethany Motor had it and all the American YouTubers had it, and I found it on eBay for like £3. So I remember like I gave mum the money back for her to order me that. And I like that £60, I savoured it. And I bought myself an EOS with it, because I really wanted an EOS. Like all the things that the girlies were gagged at back in the day. Oh, God. It was just so cute.
We spoke about this in the past, like it gets me in the heart.
It does feel really, like when I sit and actually reminisce on
like the beginning, because I feel like it's not something that you do a lot.
No, I like, really weirdly, we were sat watching the videos the other night. Like we went down like a hole of watching all my old YouTube videos, and I was showing Callum, but I don't do it that much. But also when I look at it, it's really weird. Like I don't look at it as though it's me, even though it is. But it's obviously just
like baby Anna.
Yeah, I just see baby me, but it's obviously just because I'm so much older now. But that's how I started, and then this is how it's going, which is wild. Still here. Which is
wild. Do you think there was like a specific moment in your career that, like, I already know what the answer is, but where you was like, oh my God, from going to Moshi Monsters and then Floral Princess and it all, and your first £60, and then there was like one moment where like it kind of hit you?
I'm curious what moment you think it is, though.
I know what you said. It's the best moment of your life the other day.
Which one? There's a few.
With Vamps.
Oh, you're right. Oh, that was probably one of the moments that like.
Do you think that was the first moment, or like it?
I probably had like smaller moments before then where I realised like,
this is crazy.
Oh shit,
like,
this is crazy.
What has happened here?
Like what is going on?
How did this go on?
Because obviously I left school at 16 to do it full time. So like that was probably like one of the moments where I was like, okay, what is going on here?
Like, how am I actually able to do this? Because I feel like the same, because me and Anna both didn't go on to, is it called higher education?
Yeah, I think yeah.
So I think that in itself can be a bit scary, but also like, wow, like I'm actually able to do this.
Yeah, it was a wild moment. I can't remember how old I was when Hello World was a thing. I don't know if any of you are going to know what it was, but it was like a big YouTube event that all of the Brick crew put together, and it was at the Birmingham NEC. And somehow me, Saf and Roxsaurus also got invited, and we were the only talent who weren't on Gleam that got invited, which we were so excited. We were like, oh my God, this is amazing, blah, blah. I got to meet Zoella that day, and that was literally the best day of my life. And then in the evening they had the Vamps perform, and there was like thousands of people like filled in the arena, and we all got to go up on stage, and like whilst they were singing, and like I remember being on stage, and like Alfie and Zoe were there, and Marcus was there, and
all these people that had kind of inspired you to do what you do.
All these people that I had watched and loved and like hoped to be like were there. And I remember that was a very much a moment like, oh wow, like I feel like I've like kind of made it. Like,
yeah, like how did this come about?
How am I on stage with all the people that I absolutely love, have watched my whole entire life? It was just one of those very like full circle moments to have at a very young age, which was wild.
Yeah.
But I'd say that's one of the moments that I like always look back on. And we found a video.
Yeah, we found a video.
We found a video of me on the stage that somebody else had filmed, and I was like, oh my God, like bless my heart. I don't know. It was that was just the wildest moment. I'd love to go and do that again.
Yeah, maybe we ring up the Vamps and get that in the work.
Be like, hey guys,
Can I just come on stage with you?
just one more time.
Yeah.
But then bring the whole of the brick crew with me.
Yeah, and just literally
And bring everyone with me.
Yeah.
And we'll just do it one more time.
Now, you was obviously so young when you started and so young when all this happened. And for you, like you said, when you started out, you didn't even know that this could be a career or a job. Like, you was genuinely doing it because you loved it. And for me, I've always felt that is, like, quite an important part, like, of anyone going into this. But there is so many people nowadays that would love to do what you do. For example, if somebody was to sit down and ask you what your best advice would be to kind of, like, make this a career, if that's what they really wanted to do, what do you think you'd tell them? Like, what would be your advice for actually being able to do it?
I would say there's two things. First one is be consistent.
And being consistent is going to cut you off.
Stick at it.
And it tells me off all the time because I am not so consistent.
Because like it's also a lot to do with like self-discipline. You have to tell yourself like, but then it also isn't, because like you should do it because you enjoy it and you should want to do it.
I think that's a very big part, because people can read. You might think you're unclockable or unreadable, but it's so easy to read someone's demeanour in a video, like if they're doing it because this is what they really want to do, they love it, or like if it's like, oh well, I know this is like a great job, like whatever, and that is why they're doing it. I think it's very obvious, and people cannot gel with a forced thing.
You have to have a genuine love for making videos and wanting to share that with everybody, and so that's one thing, being consistent and constantly giving people new content. Like, I've uploaded on YouTube every Wednesday, every Sunday for years. I've missed the odd one because of, like, say if it had a branded thing in that hadn't been approved and I've had to upload it a different day. But other than that,
can I just vouch for Anna as well? Like, people might read this as like a really easy job or whatever it may be, and when I tell you, like, you take this job so serious, you're so consistent with it, you never miss it. It comes before anything else. It's just think, like, to the point, people might not believe this. Like, if you ring Anna and she's filming, she is not going to answer the phone. You could be like, she's like, no, sorry, working. Like, I think that is a big thing. Like, it is, I think you really want to love what you're doing. Can't be forced. And you have to put a lot in.
You have to put a lot in to get a lot out.
Tiniest thing out.
Yeah, like, you have to give, like, everything to your videos or whatever content you're making. And also, like, with YouTube, it's not just like, I don't know, I can film a 10-second TikTok and be done with it. Like, you're literally seeing a lot of my life, and I've shared an awful lot of my life online because of that, but I don't regret, like, any of it. Like, YouTube is my favourite platform in the whole entire world. It's just one where I feel at home, I feel comforted, like, it's long form content. I don't feel like people judge you as much on YouTube. So I'd say, like, consistency is, like, my number one thing. Like, stick at it. As long as you enjoy doing it. Like, you don't want to force yourself into doing something that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
But consistency.
You've got to be having fun with it at the same time.
That's what I mean.
Otherwise, you literally will not stick on it. I was saying this the other day, like, in the start of one of my videos, I was like, I'm just going to start uploading the most random things, anything and everything, because things that I actually enjoy, because I know full well if I try and put myself in a box and say this is what I'm going to upload and I'm going to upload it at this time every I'm never going to stick. Like, you have to really enjoy like what it is you're producing. You really have to. And I don't think people realise as well, sorry I just cut you off there. It's alright. I don't think people realise as well, like, how much actually goes into it. Like, you might vlog your life and that seems so easy, you've just vlogged what you've done in a week, but like, it is also like strategically, like, have to be planned, and do you know what I mean? And it's really hard because you have to try and find that balance between it being strategically planned but also still being so not at the same time. Otherwise it feels very much like a job. Like, with the branded stuff, it's a job. Like, let me tell you, like, it's a lot. You know, you have very difficult brands to work with, things behind the scenes. Say the names. Oh my god, like, honestly, things behind the scenes can go so unbelievably wrong, and that part of it is a job, because you're being picked by a brand to promote something, and you're being, like, you know, that part of it is a job, but you have to remember to, in between the branded content, to create that organic content that got you to be able to create the branded stuff in the first place. And it's about keeping that balance. Like, you can't... so perfect. That's what I mean. Like, you
Like,
can't strictly just wait around to be paid for a job.
To be
Like, you need to also be, like, putting
your
the
own
legwork in. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand this either. Like, say, it can be different for, like, YouTube, but a lot of Instagram and TikTok, like, it's not a kind of, like, pay-per-view type thing. Like, it's... So,
No.
like, a good 99% of everyone's post on Instagram is, like, they're not earning a penny from it, and they
Yeah.
are also then still putting a lot into it. Like, you see it with
Yeah.
makeup people, like, you've got to be buying makeup. Like, this whole setup
Yeah.
in here was like, you pay for
You
yourself.
have
Do
to
you know
pay
what
for
I
it.
mean?
Yeah, of course. And I think, you know, people do get a lot of for doing a lot of branded content or whatever, but one, that's how you earn a living in this job, and two, you're never going to turn down the opportunity to work for a brand like that. Like, I dreamt of doing that when I was like 12, 13 years
Do you
old.
actually remember what your first brand deal was?
I know what it was. My first brand deal was Chupa Chups, and they came in with like these sweets. It was obviously the lollies, but they were in like a package sweet, and I had to spray my hair a different colour, and I think I had to spray my hair like purple or blue or something like that in a YouTube video.
Do you know how iconic your first brand deal being Chupa Chups is?
It was so cool, and I remember I got £400 for it, and I was literally beside myself. Like, I remember running downstairs to mum. But previously, just before this, I'd just been signed to my management agency, who I'm still with now. And that was
crazy that you've actually been with them for that long too.
I know, because I feel like in this industry, like, a lot of people change management. Yeah, like, all the time. Like, I actually don't think I know anybody else who has just been with one management. Maybe Byron, actually. I don't know if he had someone before. He might have. I really can't remember. But, like, yeah, I literally don't know anybody else. But I just love my management agency. So, yeah, it was them who got me the job. And, oh, my God, it was wild. I can still remember filming it in the exact setup, but I don't think the video is still up. It might be on private, actually.
I'd love to, like, see the first time you actually did like an ad read.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah, I remember thinking, like, they sent me like a brief and I was like, what is this? Like, that's what I mean. Like, when people say it's not a job, I'm like, babes, if you read some of these briefs,
They're crazy.
it's a job and a half.
And
It's
like,
wild.
so many brands are so persistent. And,
Yeah.
like, you cannot steer from, like, and then, but you've also got to try and make it so authentic to, like, you, and describe it the way you would describe it, because obviously
Yeah.
it's a product you love, otherwise you wouldn't have took the job.
That's what, like, with brand work and stuff, sometimes brands come to you with a brief and they're like, do this. And I'm like, babe, I can't do that, because that is not natural or authentic in the slightest. And if you'd watched my content, you'd realise that's not natural anyway. But Chupa Chups at the time was. I was like a 16-year-old kid.
And you
Loved it.
obviously just touched base on the fact that you've only ever been with one management. Like, how did that actually come about for you? Like, how did you actually end up signing with the management?
I remember at the time there was a YouTuber that I really liked watching, and I had an email come into my email box, and it was like, this person's management wants
Just
to
imagine mini Anna behind the
you.
email.
I know, I can't even remember what my email was back then, and they were like, this person's management wants to meet you. And I remember going to my mum like, oh my God, like, do you think this is real? The owner of the agency came down to my hometown, and me and my mum and Atticus was like 6 months old in a pram.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Atticus is a full-blown adult at this
Yeah.
point, and to think that he was in a pram
So this
when
was
you signed with the management.
This was like over 10 years ago, because he's nearly 11, so this was about 10 years ago. Yeah, he came up and we went to this like pub thing, and he was speaking to me and mum and like explaining about the whole management thing, because at the time the only management I knew was Gleam, because that was like the biggest one that all the Brit crew were with, and I ended up signing with them, and I've been with them ever since, and I've literally not looked back. But that was wild. Like, I remember thinking to myself, like, how am I getting signed to a management agency to do jobs? That was probably one of the moments as well, actually, where it felt like, wow,
Like,
this is
it
like
felt very real. Like,
yeah, this is real. Like, this is
crazy. Like, as if I'm actually signing with the management.
was I 14? Yeah, I would. Oh my God, I would have been, because it was 10 years ago. Yeah, I would have been 14. Maybe at back end of 13, early 14.
Which is so crazy. Like, and then you just go in school the next day. Like,
Yeah. And I remember Atticus left his toy, and the man from management agency kept it for him and then gave me it back next time we saw. I was like, yeah. I was like, I want to.
This is the one.
This is the one. Like, this is the one I want to sign with these. And I've literally not looked back. I'm still with them now.
So nice though that
Still slaying.
And they are such like a great team, and you've obviously been with them for so long, so it's like such a comfort for you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky in the sense of like, because I would not be able to do it on my own. Like, it's an incredible amount of work that they do in order to be able to like do this job, in the sense of like working with brands and everything. is literally wild. And like, yeah, I actually would be lost without them, like completely lost.
I did mention, like, obviously that must have been so crazy to then go back in school the next day and you're like, you've just signed with your first management, like, it's such a big deal, you've been doing this for so long at this point, like, probably so wild. How did you actually find doing this job in school? Because I know nowadays, like, everyone's on TikTok, everyone's on social media, but when you started 10 years ago, like, it wasn't taboo, so to speak, but it was it wasn't like as just socially acceptable and normal as it is now. Like, it was probably
100%.
like a shock that you was actually doing this.
Yeah, because obviously, like you said, like TikTok didn't exist back then. It was literally just Instagram existed, but like people didn't use Instagram like that.
It wasn't like
it wasn't a job thing. Like you couldn't, you know, I don't even think the word influencer
was a thing.
And
I think it was also,
which is wild.
Also, like, posting on Instagram at the time, 10 years ago, like, you actually couldn't post a video on Instagram.
No, it was just like, pictures, and it all looked blue. And like in grey, blue and grey.
So the fact that you then turned this into a job and then you're like posting long form content on YouTube, like, I can't imagine that was like great.
No.
In school, like the reception you got from it.
It was like the slightest bit easier because my best friend Amber at the time also was doing it. So there was like both of us doing it, and we filmed a lot of videos together, like back in the day when I was starting out. So that was like made it a little bit easier, but people obviously weren't the nicest about it. People were just like, what is she doing? Like, what is that girl doing? And I remember they put my videos on in like an IT class, or don't know what class it was. And I walked in, they had my video on the big screen. I don't remember which video it was, but it was very embarrassing. Well, it was embarrassing, but it also wasn't, because I was like, I enjoy doing this. And I think when I was at school, I was a really like quiet kid. Like, I would not put my hand up. I would not speak to anyone really. I was just really shy. So like, to me, YouTube was my way of like finding my voice and like doing something that I loved.
So where you felt comfortable to be here and speak.
Yeah, and I think like people assume that like everyone on the internet is super confident and are really, really like, yeah, just confident and happy in themselves, blah, blah, blah.
But being in a room with a camera, a mic, whatever it may be, a phone, is so different.
It's so different. Like, when you're on your own, even though, yeah, you're uploading it to the internet, you're still on your own when you're filming it. And I feel like it just allowed me to find my voice and, like, shape myself as a person in a weird way.
Yeah.
So I feel like even though it was shit, like, at school. At points, I knew that I loved doing it. I'm so thankful to myself that I stuck with it and carried on doing it.
You didn't let
outside
voices in.
I didn't let outside voices in. And then when I was 16, I made like my choices and stuff. I was going to go to sixth form, made all my choices. The whole summer, I was thinking to myself, like, is this really what I want? Because at the time, I want to say, I can't remember. I don't remember if Saf was doing it full time. I'm pretty sure she was.
Because that's the year above us in
Saf's the year above us. Yeah, she definitely was doing it full time at this point. And I remember somebody else was doing it as well. And I just thought to myself, like, I think I had about 200,000 subscribers. And I just knew that if I went to sixth form, I wouldn't be able to put in the same amount of effort
that you wanted to.
That I wanted to.
And you knew at this point, obviously, like, you've been able to do this alongside your GCSEs, schoolwork, dealing with people in school. You no longer have to deal with people in school's opinions. You've got time to put into it.
Like, I was
doing
it.
Exams. Like, if you've been able to grow it to what it was at the point of leaving school, like, the next couple of years was going to be crazy.
I know. And like, I was filming and editing after school and on weekends. I didn't have weekends with my friends. I had weekends doing YouTube. So to me, I was like, right, if I can put all of my time into this, this is when it's really going to work for me. So I remember I literally went into sixth form for half a day, and then I went and spoke to the head like person at sixth form at the time, and I said, look, they all knew I did YouTube. I really want to go and do this full time. Don't think sixth form is for me, if I'm completely honest. And they said, that's so fine, go and do it, and if it all fails, you can come back next year or whatever, and you can start again. So I was like, amazing, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Mum didn't take it as well.
Yeah, that was literally me. I remember I'll always remember one day I was in a car park and it was me, my mum, my sister and my nan in the car. We was having murder.
Because you wanted to
leave college to do makeup and like just work, like not actually have any backing from a college.
I think
as a parent as well, sorry.
Go on.
I think as a parent, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
Especially back then, because we would
That's
have
what I
been the
was gonna
same
say.
age having these conversations the same year, the same time, because me and Anna are actually the same like
Same
school
age.
year.
Yeah.
Anna's just the old woman in the relationship.
I'm the old woman. I'm an October baby.
So I'm 23. I'm a summer baby. Back then, to tell your mum you was going to do social media or makeup or anything like that, like, an unconventional job. It wasn't like we'd both started at a company and we was like really progressing at this company fast. Like, I think
so different.
Didn't have anyone self-employed in my family. Didn't have anyone that had like done any type of creative career. It was all very like career driven.
But also at that time, like, there wasn't the only kind of way forward that you were pushed into was going to college or sixth form and then university. That was just
and
the
then
norm.
after that you then like
there wasn't
a career.
There wasn't any other options, whereas nowadays there's so many other options that like you technically can do. And you know, obviously, like, for a lot of jobs you need to go to uni, but for this job I was like, education is not going to benefit me whatsoever. Like, I don't need to go to sixth form and study biology to become a YouTuber. Like, you can't study to become a YouTuber. Like, yeah, I could have done business, which maybe would have helped a little bit, I don't know, but like,
I feel like that's such a funny opinion, because when I film with Heather, everyone has the same opinion that if we was in this career, if we was ever going to take a degree or something, like, it should have been business.
Yeah, I wish it was business. I wish I did business out of anything, just so I could understand like the terminology more.
I don't think people understand how hard of a career this is to navigate if you're doing it on your own the first time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so I obviously did this before I met you, but if I'd have randomly stumbled upon this as a job when I knew you, like, I'd have obviously found it a lot easier because I would have had you for like advice, but you didn't have you.
No,
like a lot of the time, like, you've actually, it's just like
you just have to figure it out as you go. And it is wild because most people who own businesses, they own a business of creating a product or a business, something where other people work for them. We are our business.
Yeah, like it's you as a person.
My business is me. Like, I could create a product, but like I can't create I don't know, I have to wake up every day and do the work because the business is me. So, and learning all that was like crazy, and learning about tax and money and opening a business and law and everything like that. That was just a whole other thing that I had to do. But I did clearly didn't go very far with it. I did take this like beauty and makeup course, and I got this like weird diploma thingy in it. I don't know what it actually was. And I left and did that alongside YouTube for a bit. And then once I'd done that, I was like, no, YouTube's my number one. And in that year where I didn't do school, that was when it really took off, because I could put all my time into it. And I was going down, I lived with Saf basically for like 2-3 years in Brighton, and we did everything together. And yeah, it was just amazing. It was literally the best decision I've ever made.
How did you actually meet Saf? Because I don't think I know this, and I feel like that early days you and Saf did everything together. Yeah,
it's because we live so close. So I met Saf because she obviously started social media and I was already doing it, and it was either I commented on her photo and she DM'd me, or she commented on mine. Before Saf? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so it was I can't remember which way around it was. There was an exchange of comments, and then it turned into us DMing on Instagram, and we both arranged that we wanted to film a video together. So her mum drove her to my house, and we filmed a collab video, because they were like really big back in the day to do a collab video.
Yeah.
And then Wendy sat outside in the car, and my mum wasn't even in the house, I don't think. And me and Saf just went upstairs and filmed, and we just got along so well. And then literally from that day, she's been one of my best friends. But like, because obviously I lived so close to Brighton when I was at home, I would go down there and stay for like weeks on end, and I just wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Like, I just lived in her house. It was so nice. And yeah, that's how me and Saf met. And now we've been friends nearly 10 years.
It's so nice as well. You obviously have a lot of friends in the industry. Like, you've got Byron and things. Mm-hmm. How did you actually end up meeting Byron? Has everyone? What is the story behind that? Because I feel like
people don't really know.
I'm a latecomer to the story.
So I met Has first, and I met Has because it was basically through a boy that I ended up meeting Has. Yeah, Has invited me to go to an event called Soccer 6 with her, and went to that event, and it was like me, and I met Jazz there, but I already knew Jazz. And then me and Byron have conversations about this to this day still. Byron claims that I invited him to come to Soccer 6, but I definitely didn't, because those messages don't exist.
Yeah,
like,
somewhere.
We can't find any. He said that it was on Twitter DM. It was not, because I cannot find those messages at all. Me and Byron had exchanged like a couple of messages when I followed him on Twitter. Also, don't even remember how I found him on Twitter. I followed him and I got this like automated DM from him, and it was like, "Hey cutie," like, it was like, "Hey cutie, can I get like, oh, thanks for the follow," or something like that. And then we literally exchanged maybe like 2 messages, and that was it. And then I ended up bumping into him at Soccer 6. He came because apparently I invited him. I really don't think I did, but I don't know how. Then we didn't speak at all at Soccer 6. He was like, "You literally did not speak to me," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why I didn't." And then a couple of weeks, I was just a shy girl. And then a couple of weeks later, or maybe a couple of months, Haz and Byron ended up living in the same uni accommodation, and Haz invited me to come and stay with her. And Byron obviously was there, so Haz was like, "Oh," to Byron, like, "Anna's coming." And Byron actually didn't think he was going to like me. Byron thought he was going to hate me because he thought that I was really quiet and wasn't funny. He said he'd watch my content. It's
so funny though, because it actually makes me laugh. Like, I feel like we're not loud in public, like, or like a loud situation, but then in person, like, we love a laugh.
Yeah, but obviously back then I was like 16, like my content was like Floral Pastel Princess and he was like painting tampons. Yeah. Like we were 2 different people. So like he didn't think he was going to like me at all. And then that night I actually ended up staying in his room rather than Haz's, and me and him were sat watching Love Island for hours together because we just got along so well. And then literally from that day he became like my best friend. It was the weirdest thing. So
just
like
very natural.
Just very, very natural. And 90% of my friends now are people I've met through this job. I've only really got Tanisha, Dev, Joel and Doyle left from who I speak to from school. Like in the sense of like we speak to each other a lot. And Tanisha's obviously like my best friend. But other than that, like all my friends are
through this
job, which is crazy.
Me, though,
and then that's how I met Freya as well, because Freya lived with Byron and Haz at uni. And then that's how I met Josh. So I mean, like you meet people through like a domino effect of people. But yeah, that's how I met Haz and Byron. And we're back.
We just jumped off camera while we finished the rest of Anna's Eyes, and we're going to pick up where we left off, speaking in regards to like meeting Byron, Haz, Freya, the Manchester bunch, as we now are. The Manchester lot. How did that actually come about? Obviously, Haz, Byron, Freya, etc. All moved down from London to Manchester. I think Freya come after you, did she?
Freya came after me.
Yeah, but what was like, then you obviously moved from Milton Keynes to Manchester, which quite a far way to go from your parents on the first move.
It was 3 hours away.
Crazy.
And it was in lockdown as well. It was basically because Byron has basically lived in London for 3 years for uni, and I would always go and stay with them. Like it was between Brighton and their house. I was never at home. And they basically just wanted to move out of London, and they saw the towers that I live in now in Manchester and they loved them. So they moved up here and I came to visit them. And I literally fell in love with it. Like, they were begging me to move. Such a nice place. They were begging me to move. And I was like, guys, I'm literally not moving. Like, it's so far.
And as soon as I came... would have been, like, your first time moving out.
Yeah, my first time moving out. I didn't know if I was ready to move out as well. Like, I was... Even though I would have gone to uni and moved out by that age, I was 20 when I moved out. But I don't know. I just didn't feel ready. Like, I just loved living at home with my mum and Anastasia, especially because my mum's a single mum. I think I felt that guilt of, like, leaving her as well. So, I came up to stay with Haz and Byron, loved their flat, and then I looked on the website and they had one available. They didn't tell me what floor it was. They didn't tell me what one it was. I just said I wanted a apartment on the corner so I can like have loads of windows. And they were like, yeah, we've got one. Do you want to come and view it? So mum drove me all the way to Manchester and back in one day to go and view it. And we got here and we couldn't actually even view it, because people were still living in it. So we ended up just having to look at all the amenities and stuff and then view Haz and Byron's, which obviously I'd already seen, but it was just for my mum to see. And that day I literally emailed them back and I was like, yep, I want the apartment. And I signed for it in November and then I moved in January. So I had like 2 months to start getting sorted, and my nan had a spare room at the time in our house, so I was buying all my stuff and getting it delivered to my nan's, and my nan's spare room was just filled with all my stuff for my bedroom. And then I moved up here in the January, and I moved in lockdown, which was a bit crazy to do, to be honest, like moving to a new city in lockdown, because
you can't actually really experience the city at that point,
yeah,
or like enjoy it.
I didn't know where anything was. I didn't even know where a food shop was. Like, my mum, before she left, had to drive me to the food shop to get like a big shop of stuff, and it was just really scary, like living in a new place. But obviously Hass and Byram were my social bubble. They were the only two people that I knew at the time who lived in Manchester. I didn't know Callum at that point. And yeah, it was wild, but I loved it. It was literally the best decision I've ever made, moving to Manchester. It's my favourite place in the whole entire world. It just feels like home.
We're just city girls.
Like, I think I was meant to be in the city. Like, I just feel this is like...
He was meant to meet me, and we was meant to be neighbours.
I was meant to meet you. You were meant to live in the building. Like, I don't know, it's just everything felt right. And then I met Callum because he actually knew Jazz and Soph, because he went to college with them. Yeah,
everyone's like linked.
Everyone's linked. He went to college with them, but then Haz knew him from meeting him at a concert, and then he lived in Manchester, and we FaceTimed all the time, and he was so lovely. And then obviously started seeing Callum, and then Freya moved up here once she'd finished her job. And then obviously you moved, but that was like, obviously then I met you, but then you only moved last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was literally wild. Like, now we've got like a little family up here. We actually are like a family. Yeah. We're not like friends. We are literally like a family.
I don't think a lot of people know even how we met, to be fair.
No, I don't think we've ever said how we met.
Yeah,
it was through Haz again. Yeah, thank God for Haz, really, because if I didn't have Haz in my life, I wouldn't know anybody. Yeah.
So I knew Haz originally before I knew anyone else. Like, me and Haz followed each other for years on Instagram, and then both unfollowed each other. She claims I unfollowed her first. I claim she unfollowed me first. We'll never know. But then my sister watched Anna's videos, and I remember we was at
it was an ISO clean event.
An ISO clean event with Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
In March 2022.
May.
It was 2022. May. So it has been actually coming up to like 3 years. Well, two and a half years that we've known each other. And then I was doing one of the girls' makeup who actually works at ISO Clean, and I've been invited to the event. I was just saying, who's going to be there tonight? Who's invited? What's the situation? And she mentioned Anna, and I knew my sister loved Anna's videos, so I told my sister, I was like, Anastasia Kingsnorth going, etc. And my sister was like, please just like go and say hi to her, like whatever. My sister's gonna hate me. That's so cute.
Your sister's so lovely.
So I basically just went up to Anna and I was like, I'm so sorry to show you, it's so annoying, but my sister really loves your video. Can we just get her a selfie and say hi?
I remember this.
So we did anyway, and then I was like, also, I know you've not long lived in Manchester or something, did I say?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a makeup artist here or what the situation is, but like I'd love to glam.
And it was literally the week after, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I'd just got out of surgery. Like, I was fully bandaged up.
Yeah, I remember.
Then I went round to Anna's, did a glam. Then I don't think we might not have spoke for like a couple of weeks, whatever. And then Anna was doing her shoot for Forever.
Yes.
Which we can also get into, because I want to talk to you about Locked In. And I did 2 or 3 of them shoots.
Yeah, 2 or 3? 2 of them.
And on
the one that was on the big billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the last one, Anna was speaking about that, her plans in the evening. She was going to be going to the Halloween thing, and I was like, oh my God, let me know how it is, because I love going to them types of things. I love scary things, whatever. Yeah. I'm obsessed with Halloween. Now, if anyone knows me, you know this now, but like, I am actually like obsessed with Halloween.
You love Halloween.
So, and I was like, why don't you come? And then I came and I met everyone, and then I feel like very fastly,
like from friends. That, yeah, it was like from you. Obviously, I already knew you and Haz already knew you, but then that's how you met everybody else.
Yeah.
So that was 2022. Yeah. And now we've known each other 2.5 years, and we spend pretty much every day together.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'd do without you. It was meant to be.
But yeah, then just backtracking from the Forever situation, like the Forever shoot, Locked In. Now,
Locked In.
What a crazy experience. We were actually chatting about this last night, and with the dogs and everything, so I actually really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a form of reality TV, basically. If you don't know what Locked In is, how would you actually describe it?
It's a YouTube show, and it's kind of a bit like Big Brother. It's where they put 10 or 11 of you in a house for 2 weeks with no phones, and you have to like compete against each other to win £10,000. And when they asked me to do it at first, I was actually like, no, like I can't do it. I'd watched the first season and I was just like, oh my God, that's really out of my depth. Like, I don't know. And then my manager kind of persuaded me and was like, this could be really good for you, like if you did do it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I remember I was honestly terrified. Like I said, it's really hard because I loved my locked-in experience because it was something where I pushed myself outside my comfort zone. But I would just came across as the really quiet one, even though, yes, I was definitely the quietest in the house because I was a very shy person. But I got a lot of shit for being quiet, which really annoys me now because if I was to go in again now and do it, I would be a completely different person. But I guess that's just on time and growing into yourself and finding your confidence.
And I think at the time you would have just moved out. It wasn't too long into you living in Manchester, was it?
No, and
you were
like
in a new city, like you
yeah.
was about to you was about to find yourself for real.
Yeah, it was just like a really scary experience knowing like that I was gonna be away from everything and everyone that I knew for 2 weeks in a house with strangers competing and stuff. Like I said, like, I was terrified at school to even put my hand up, and they were making me do wild stuff in there.
A lot of the creators in there are quite loud, boisterous.
Yeah,
like,
everybody was
creators.
Everyone was a really like naturally funny, really loud, big personality, which I was not at all. Just a very like reserved at first. Once you know me, not at all.
Really,
Christ, not at all. But just at first, very reserved, and also just really different personalities. It was hard for me to fully come out of my shell how I think I would be able to now. If I ever got the chance to do anything like that again, I know I would be a completely different person. But that, like I said, that's just on growth, and that's just growing up and finding yourself and like growing getting confidence older. And everything, getting older. But it was literally the best experience of my life. We were in a lockdown period 3 days before. And we were in a hotel and stuff, and we couldn't leave the hotel room. And then we went in on the third day, and I was second in the house. Spuds went in first, and then I went in. And then like every half an hour, 45 minutes, a new housemate would come in. And it was just the weirdest thing. And luckily I actually knew Steph and I knew Millie beforehand, which obviously made me feel a bit more like comfortable because I knew them already going into it. But it was just a crazy experience, like things that I did in that house. Like I still actually can't believe I did it. When I watch it back, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that was me.
Yeah, like as if I actually went for it and did it.
Yeah, as if I actually did it.
But you've probably grown a lot in there as well and like found yourself there too. In a sense of being in like a completely different environment because
100%.
The fact that how did you actually find, because this always intrigues me, as somebody that is chronically online because you've got to be, it's your job.
Yeah.
Going 2 weeks without your phone because Anna actually made it to the final, guys.
Yeah, I made it to the final. I actually came second.
There we go.
I was so close to coming first, but then Joke Man and Johnny came joint first. But I loved it in the sense of like I will probably never have a period of my life again unless I was lucky enough to do something like a show like that again where I won't have my phone. So like it was a really lovely experience, not knowing the time, not knowing anything that was going on. All you had to focus on was having fun in there, obviously like trying to win the challenges and stuff, but having different conversations with different people. I had conversations with those people in the house that I will probably never have with other people. Like it was just really interesting conversation, and like you were very in the moment because you couldn't just switch off and go on TikTok. You couldn't just switch off and go on your phone. Like that's all you had to speak about. So it was a very interesting experience, and one that I felt like I came back from a completely different person. I remember when I got my phone back, I literally just got put in a taxi and got given my phone and I turned it on and it was wild. Like I've never felt so popular in my life. My notifications were just pinging off. And I remember I rang Byron and Freya straight away and they were in the middle of TK Maxx and they were screaming because I got my phone back and they were like, oh my God, you're out, blah, blah. And they were at my flat ready for when I got back. But it was just so much fun. I'd love to do it again.
If you wasn't to do Locked In again, what would be like a bucket list program that you would like, or TV, or have you got like certain things that you think you'd love to do in the future? Yeah,
I feel like my like goal would be to be able to go into presenting. That's like my number one. But my biggest dream, not a celebrity, but influencers are going on I'm a celeb now, but to go on I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here, that has always been my number one like bucket list moment that I really want to do. And I'm just, oh my God, I'm just hoping that one year I'm lucky enough to get asked or get to do it. And I would literally love it. Like that's been my biggest dream ever since I was a kid. It's my favourite programme in the whole entire world. So, and that's kind of like, well, yeah, it kind of is like Locked In, but just extreme.
Yeah. Anastasia for I'm a Celeb, because I'd be watching.
Anastasia for I'm a Celeb 2025. Please. Oh my God. Or my mum. Get my mum on it.
or Julie and I'm a Celeb would be the moment.
I would be an anxious mess watching my mum, because she just wouldn't do any of the challenges, and then she'd kick off by not having food. She just wouldn't get it, but it would be such good TV.
It would be incredible.
It would be it would be such good TV.
And why we're actually there, sorry, I'm really jumping ships, but I've got to ask why we're on the topic of like reality TV and things like that. You actually was lucky enough to be at the premiere of the Kardashians. Like, I need to know about that. That is crazy.
I was.
I think that's another big moment. That's like, what?
That's what I was going to say. That was probably one of the moments where I was like, how am I here? We literally got, and it was perfect timing actually. We got flown out to LA, and I was going to Florida anyway 2 days later with my mum and Atticus for Disney World. And then me and Saf got the thing like a week before. They were like, can you go? And I was like, yeah, perfect. I literally can. This is amazing timing. And yeah, we got to walk the carpet at the Kardashian premiere with Disney, and that was just crazy. Like, sat there, we were like third row at the premiere or second row at the premiere with like Kris Jenner talking and Kim Kardashian walking past me, and I was just like...
Did you actually manage to get to meet any of them?
We didn't meet any of them, but we were like, how close me and you are. They were like...
Essentially met them.
Essentially met them. And I'm actually in the episode of the Kardashian because you can see me and Saf clapping.
There we go. I simply must know as well.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite Kardashian then after meeting them?
After seeing them in real life...
Who's the baddest? Who's the badder?
Kylie. But then Kim is tiny. Like, so she's so small. I was looking at her and I was like, well, she doesn't even look like a real human. But they all look exactly like they do.
Like, where is the rest of Kim, please?
Like, where is she? She is dust. But like, they all look the exact same as what they do on camera. But they were gorgeous. Like, absolutely gorgeous. I remember being gobsmacked.
I feel like the fact being that close to the Kardashians is just so crazy.
Wild. Like, I remember actually, this is backtracking, but because that was like my second, I think that was my third or fourth time in LA, but another I made it moment actually was when I went to LA for the first time. I remember I went with Saf to Coachella with Claire's when I was 17 years old.
Iconic photo.
Yeah, iconic photo. I look horrendous. And we landed in LA on really late on the night, and then we were driving to Palm Springs at like 1 p.m. the next day. And Saf knew that I'd never been to LA before, and it was my dream. So we woke up at the crack of dawn, and she took me to all the places within like 4 hours, so I could go and get pictures with them all. And she took me to like the wings on Melrose and Fairfax, to like the Hollywood Boulevard. She took me to like all the best places and gave me like a little tour of LA. And I remember waking up that day and thinking, wow, this is wild.
And then you're literally like about to go to Coachella with what was at the time like a huge brand.
Yeah, at the 1,000,000%. Like, as a 17-year-old girl going with Claire's was like iconic.
Claire's had the girls gagged and gooped.
Yeah, and they had like the American, me and Saf were the only British influencers, and the American ones they had were people that I really followed for like years. It was just a really crazy experience, and Palm Springs itself was amazing. I would only like, actually no, I would go there for a holiday, but like you just technically go there for Coachella.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was another like I made it moment. I remember thinking like, how the hell am I getting flown to these places? Because I feel like brand trips still do happen, but not as often as they used to to like bigger places. Like Motel Rocks used to do a lot of brand trips because they took me to Bali and Miami actually.
I feel like Space NK are doing big ones at the minute.
Yeah, so. Space NK are White Fox. Actually, that's White Fox.
Yeah.
White Fox took me to LA last year. They do massive ones. And White Fox are just literally one of the best brands ever in the sense of like brand trip stuff. It's so amazing. But a brand trip even in itself is wild. Like, how is that a thing?
It is crazy.
Like, obviously it makes sense in the sense of, like, that's their version of PR. So they're putting money into a brand trip with influencers rather than doing like a TV ad or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
And on the topic of made it moments, we've got to talk about relationship status.
My little baby.
Which I was so lucky enough to actually share the moment with you of you finding out that you got the book deal.
We were in Sicily. Was it Sicily?
Sicily, yeah.
We were in Sicily, and my manager at the time texted me saying, "Are you sat down?" And I looked at Callum and I literally know what she's going to say. Like, it's either going to be I've got it or I haven't. Because just before we'd flown away, I'd had all the meetings and like pitched the book and stuff. And then I got the text, and yeah, you were sat on the bed with me.
Yeah.
And then we got absolutely smashed.
Yeah, we did.
To celebrate.
We really celebrated.
We really
the book.
celebrated.
I feel like that had to be really celebrated, though. That is crazy.
Yeah, we really celebrated.
And I obviously know everything that went into it. Like, it was so much. You poured your heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears all into that book. But for the people that might not know that, like, what was the actual process of writing a book and getting to publish it, and like how did you find visiting the factory, like the whole experience? And then you also did a book tour, which was crazy.
Yeah, that honestly, it was the wildest thing. So I wrote the full book myself, which lots of people were never going to believe. Lots of people like
she wrote that
I
book.
wrote that book. I spent every spare minute, not even spare minute, every
and
minute,
it was
like
a long time.
I started writing the book in, oh God, when was it? So I found out in June. I would have started in July, end of June, July time, and I fully finished in maybe like December, but then we had to go back, and obviously like once, because basically the way it worked was we had meetings and stuff, and I said exactly what I want to write about and all the different chapters and stuff, and then we pieced them all together. So we were like, okay, this is going to go in this chapter, this will go in this chapter, and then I got sent a spreadsheet, and you had to send over the chapters like by a certain date. So I basically had 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, to write every single chapter. Then you'd have to deliver that chapter to Penguin, and they would read it and approve it. And I was so nervous to send off my first chapter. And Michelle, who I worked with at Penguin, like she was like the person who I'd send the chapters to. She said to me, she was like, you might not want to write the intro or the first chapter first. You might want to start with the second, because you might want to go back and change it. Like, it's the first time you're ever writing, so it might sound a bit rusty, it might not sound exactly how you want it to. So I wrote it, and I remember I actually really changed like the first part of the book once I'd really got into the flow of writing, because I'd found my writing style, I'd found exactly how I want to word everything. So I went back and like changed a lot of it. But yes, so every 2 or 3 weeks I was sending off the chapters. And I remember when I sent off the first chapter, I literally got the best feedback. She was like, you are such a natural at writing. Like, there's nothing to change. Like, it's just exactly what we wanted.
I feel like that's also a lot to do with how personal the book was to you.
Yeah.
It was so personal, especially considering, like we were talking about earlier, you've not been in school since 16. Like, it's not in your nature to sit and write a book, but because it was so personal to you.
Yeah, if it was a storybook, I can hand on heart say I would not have been able to do it. I would have had to have had help to write a storybook. Like, that's just a completely different level of creativity. But because it was like so personal, with so many personal moments, but also was a dating book about advice, which is something that I've done a lot of in the past, it just felt very, not easy because it wasn't an easy process, but it just felt very natural. Like, I found myself writing so much, and almost sometimes too much, to the point we had to like take stuff out, because I ended up writing loads. Because originally when you sign the deal, they tell you roughly how many words and how many pages it's going to be, and I'd signed it to do 60,000 words. And I remember when I first got that, I was like, 60,000 words, like, how is that even possible? But then as I was writing, I'd look at like the word count on words, and I'd write a chapter, it was like 10,000 words. I was like, wow, shit, like I've got a lot to say.
Yeah.
So like it was actually a lot easier in that sense than I thought. The more challenging part of it was having to relive and go through all the bad dating things again and bring them all back up to the surface. Yeah, it was like a form of therapy writing that book. Bringing everything back to the surface.
And I feel
was
like
a lot.
I feel like also as well, it was probably terrifying because there was such vulnerable moments in there that you've never publicly actually ever spoken about.
Yeah, I've always been really open, especially with the podcast. Like, my Anastasia podcast, Christ, I've said so much on that, but there was so many moments in there that I hadn't shared with people that I was decided to share in that book. And that was really scary as well. But it also at the same time like wasn't, because it felt like I was just writing a diary. So when it actually came out, I was like,
oh, people can read this.
Wow, like people are actually going to be reading this. But it was also just the most amazing experience, because like it was a passion project. Like, it was something alongside making videos that I could throw my time into and do. And it was just the most amazing thing. I remember doing the shoot for it in December last year. And oh my God, it was just the most magical day, seeing it all come to life. And I got to basically design the full front cover because I was very picky on what I wanted the front cover to look like. I had it very much a strong image in my head. And originally I didn't even know if my face was going to be on the cover. And then they decided, yeah, we want you on the cover. So I was like, thank God, because I really want to be on the cover. And it took a long time to get that cover. I'll be so real. We were back and forth to try and get that cover to where I wanted it to be, because originally they were really keen on having it purple and green. And I had a heart attack.
She's a very neutral girl.
I had an absolute heart attack. And I was like, no, like I've spent months doing this book. I want this to look exactly how I want it to look. And we finally got there in the end. And then obviously it came out in June and then went straight on a book tour, which was wild. I literally went on a book tour, then straight to Bali to celebrate, and then found out it was a Sunday Times bestseller, which was that was my like goal when I did it. I was like, I need to make that list. And then I kind of knew that I had a really good chance because on the first day we knew how many pre-orders it had, and my manager was like, you've definitely made the list. So that was literally like a wild day when I found that. I cried in bed, actually. I have the video of me on Snapchat.
I can imagine.
When I got the text through.
Because making a Sunday Times bestseller list, your first ever book, something so personal, is like crazy.
Like, I just did not, like, in my head I was like, no, I can do this, but at the same time I didn't believe I could do it. I was like, no, it's going to be so hard. And it was hard, but I did it. And yeah, I remember finding out that morning that I got the text. Like, Michelle texted me, she's like, I want to be the first one to tell you that you've made the list. And I made it at number 5. I was like, oh my God. So they sent me like a little frame, and I've got it in my office where it says number 5 relationship status.
And I feel like now we're up to date.
Now we're up to date. Now we're here.
And now we're here. So I feel like we've got you all up to date, Anna. There's everything to possibly know about you we've spilled. The only other bits to know about you are all in relationship status.
You know it.
Can go and read.
You know it, baddies.
If you've not read
go and pick up that book.
Status, there's a lovely chapter about me and my cheese toasties in the end of it.
There is.
A lovely...
because Callum always makes the best cheese toasties. Like, we're going out for dinner actually after this. We can't have a cheese toastie, but cheese toastie and tomato soup.
Incredible.
Oh my goodness.
So, I'm going to pop off camera, finish Anna's glam, and be back with the final look.
It looks so good.
And this, guys, is the finished glam. I'm absolutely obsessed with how it turned out. And it was so lovely chatting to you. Of course, I would not have had anyone else do the first episode with me.
Thanks, baby.
And we had such a lovely chat.
It was so nice.
I'm just very proud of you always. You're doing amazing things.
I'm proud of you. Look how talented you are. Look at the makeup.
I am talented, to be
fair. Look at the glam.
But Anna, before we go, I have one last question for you.
Hit me with it.
If 15-year-old you was the one stood in front of this camera right now, what have you got to tell her? I'm going to leave.
Oh, am I going into the middle?
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, I really look, I'm on an interview thing now. If 15-year-old me was stood here looking up at my 24-year-old self, I would say, 1, thank God you got hotter. I'm joking.
I can't, yeah.
No, 2, you did it. And you always believed that you could do it, and you did it. And I'm proud of myself for doing it.
As you should.
That's what I tell myself.
Thank you all again for watching.
Thanks, baby.
I will see you all in the next one. Unfortunately, not with my printer. My little dog.
I'll be back whenever, though. I live downstairs.
Yeah, you will. But again, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the interview and the glam. And I'm so excited to film more of these. And hopefully have Anna back.
Offie.
Love you all. Bye.
Let's go stuff my f***ing face.
Yeah,